Ladies and gentlemen, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, welcome back to ETF2L Season 50, brought to you by Manco's Store. Tonight we have Aragosta looking to create a bit of an upset here in the rankings, looking to take some points as they went through week one without taking any against a tough opponent in the Frenchies. However, my name, of course, is Wandom. We've got Ben PL running the production, and then Dave is alongside on the microphone with me. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty well. Looking forward to the game. I'm a little bit worried that it might not be the closest game in the world from what I've seen of Aragosta so far. I mean, they can sometimes make it close, but there was also, I think, a map in that official the other day where they kind of got annihilated. So we'll have to see how they do. And as you say, Forfence, the Frenchies, very, very strong team. Saw them week one. They also looked strong at times, but obviously one of the maps that they did drop, they were a lot weak on as well. So, I'm expecting, maybe at least one of these two maps tonight might be at least a little bit close, hopefully.
Yeah, I think for me personally, Aragosta is like one of those teams where you look at the names just on the team and you might not expect them to be sort of top tables, and I think we can all agree that they're not going to finish top tables. But they were playing last season, and to be honest, some of their players were really surprisingly quite good. I think Juxta had an excellent season last season in the AFS season, the shortened whatever summer season we had. But then I think some of their other players, they had some standout games. I remember Davey dropping big damage some of their matches as well. Then they've, I think, honestly, just straight up kind of upgraded the roster a little bit, bringing Vanu in. Vanu, classic chaos creator. They're looking to upset some Frenchies. I think Vanu can help you pull across.
Yeah, they've got a second Frenchie of their own tonight. It's obviously Juxta is the main on the roster. It looks like Poi is going to be coming in on the medic class. So he's someone who's been around for a while. I think he's played on maybe not Forfence, but certainly a different Frenchie team before. So he'll be familiar with his opponents on the Forfence side. But they have a pretty stat roster themselves, don't they?
Yeah, this is a roster that's been together for a really long time now, actually. We saw them all the way back in Poland, obviously in February, but then even earlier than that. Obviously, Premiership champions at this point as well. If we scroll back all the way back to last year. Stack roster, of course. We've got QB, Nevo on Scouts. It's Demul still on Roamer, and then Brudgman, of course. Pocket. Then we have QB Demo and Mula on Medic. These guys are really struggling. Right? If you ask them, obviously, right, they do not consider Aragosta their competition whatsoever. If you are a Frenchie fan, you would be looking for this to be a very fast 5-0-5-0. Because these guys are not their opponents at all in their own minds, right? Like, this is a team where you're really, to be honest, their sights are set on the maggots across the board, and then also trying to take it to Witness as well, right? And so if you want to do that, then that means you really do need to just cleanly beat Aragosta. But I said it before already, but I think Aragosta kind of have a bit of upset potential. I think some of their mids last week were looking really, really solid. If we sort of roll those over to sort of success later on in the map as well, I think we might have some interesting maps on our hand.
Definitely could be. As you say, I think solid underdogs. They'll certainly be looking to try and make it as competitive as possible. And, they have some talented guys that might be able to bring it. Looks like we're starting off on Metalworks for the first map. I feel like I've seen the Frenchies on this before, and I think Brugman especially is a player who has had a lot of success on this map in the past. So I've always seen him very, very impactful in the mid, so that he's definitely going to be a player to look out for, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. This is a Brugman classic map at this point. Brugman is so good on these mids, as you say, and I think that makes this really, really scary. If you're looking at a team like Aragosta where their strong points are their mids, one thing I do want to point out though, AFS last season, these guys managed to cleanly beat a Nunya squad with much better players on Metalworks, where it just kind of seemed like they completely outplayed Nunya, to be honest. Wondering. That's a bit of slight cope. I think that was maybe one of the worst Condog performances I've ever seen coming out of him as well. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is definitely, for a first map, I think Frenchies is one of those maps, Metalworks as well, where you get so much off of just being able to successfully transfer advantages across the board. There's a lot of distance to cover, but that means that in reverse, if you are good at really rolling momentum forwards, you can take so much space. And so the main choke point really comes down to that last point and trying to convert all the way forwards. But there we are, guys. Once again, this is ETF2L Season 50, brought to you by Manco's Store. And we're going live here for Week 2, Aragosta versus Four Fence. We're rolling straight out onto middle for map number 1.
Yep, looks like Devi and Delhi pretty much neck and neck. Devi's just waiting for an arrow. Looks like actually Delhi
We're getting baited, by the way.
Jumping in, and yeah, it does seem it's a bait.
Yep. Nevo immediately in chat just types So we are getting completely baited. We did the introduction. So I do the introduction again, just pretend it never happened, and then Samus can like edit it out in the YouTube. It'll be really funny. I'll do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, now we are gonna go live here for Week 2 of ETF2L Season 50, brought to you by Manco's Store. It's Week 2 map number 1 here between Aragosta and the Frenchies, rolling out to mid. Nothing ever happened previously. As you can see, Mackie rolling out a bit early as well, going down lower. We're very quickly pressuring the other side.
Yeah, and Delhi on the low ground putting a lot of damage down into that checkpoint, trying to just fire pipes, but at the moment everyone's dodging. There is a flank in now from Dimul, gonna find Devi, but 2 French players have gone down for it. A lot of weak players on that Aragosta side of things, but if they can just keep themselves together, support point, they will come out on top just about through strength of numbers.
This is Nevo running back with Mula, but they are not out of the woods quite yet. Those are scouts chasing really far forwards. So FF, they managed to keep the medic alive. Mula 100% now. They're all the way back on launch. This is a really nice mid from Aragosta, picking up really crucial picks quite early on. Really like that super early aggression coming out from Mackie, and the Four Fence just had no space to play whatsoever. Now back on their last, they've got a heavy up to support them as well. Even Ubers, I wonder now, Aragosta, this is where the map gets tricky. How do you break this stalemate?
Yeah, just how heavy they have to deal with at the moment. Mackie is jumping in, trying to get onto... Oh, actually does find a lot of damage out to Mula, but Mula holds on milks for his life. And somehow, despite being eyeball to eyeball with Mackie there, does hold through and doesn't pop the Uber.
That was really nice from Mula. Really close as well. I feel like Mackie had a rocket to spare. Getting that rocket off onto Mula would have been huge. It's a really, I kind of like the super early aggressive soldier sack-in, right? You go as fast as possible just to make sure that there's a little of a last setup as humanly possible for the enemy team, and that means you don't have to bomb a sentry gun that just completely shuts you down in the air. But now, that time has passed. There's already a level 2 up. It's going to be a level 3 by the time any sort of further aggression comes out. Evo up on the sniper here is going to hold off even further aggression. You can see Davey just getting body shot all the way down. Sia going to try to go for this jump, actually. Does not get hit by the gun, but there's just stickies all over. Deli shooting down both enemy soldiers, and that means aggression stayed off for now. QB instantly off of the NG. There's Nevo back on the sniper. I do not think we're getting more aggression here.
Yeah, it looks like they're at least going to posture themselves out to this lobby area, but obviously you can't just play around this window as Davey is doing, playing on the beam, just completely denying everyone. They, you know, they had a look, they had a bit of a peek. They have now, ooh, Sia and Vanu, they both go down to Delhi stickies in that shot area, just overstaying their welcome a little bit, and now maybe the Frenchies can push out.
I actually really like the initial sort of flank angle from Sia. It's really good, getting super far forwards, but the stickies from Delhi are so good catching that out. Now, Bruchman, unfortunately, unable to get any sort of further in through that sticky or that choke point. Rather, now it's Delhi just falling as well. 2 picks here for Four Fence. Losing your demo is so hard on a map like Metalworks. Now, you really have to bank everything on the heavy of QB. You can see the pressure coming forwards from Aragosta, shooting in from as many angles as possible. So Soldier coming in far forwards. This is the ball going down as well. Only 3 up here. For Four Fence, the leading players is finally the Devil's alive. But look, QB, he's dead already. Now, Davey, 22 HP, no Ubers have been popped, however, it's just a soldier bombing in, but Mackie so low as well on this low ground, but it's Nevo cleaning him up, and that is Aragosta. They had a really nice advantage there going forwards, but no Uber committed, no Uber popped, and they lose to the trade in the end. Now they can't even stay on second, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what their idea was on that last push. Certainly their combo got in quite cleanly. They had opportunities maybe for the soldiers to bomb as well, but I think Sia was just a bit late with the bomb, wasn't really focused, ended up just focused on the left side rather than going either deep for the medic or for someone defending the point, and it was just a little bit scattered overall. You know, definitely an opportunity missed there, I'd say, for Aragosta, but they're still, you know, they still have mid, they still have some kind of position to peaking towards the second point. So not always lost, but certainly a missed opportunity.
Yeah, now it's just soldier bombs coming in, but Sia unfortunately unable to find that mark. Maki also fleed. Both of them live though, so it's not going to spawn any immediate counter aggression. I say Evo taking down Maki, and now it's going to look at the Frenchies, right? They just come in straight through Valley. They're just going to keep surging forward here.
Yeah, they're doing their best. At the moment, just bullying players out, getting Brugman into space. But there we go, the bomb from Sia. That's perfectly onto Mula, sinks the rockets. Medic down, that's a drop. And that is going to be Poi now, playing around a full Uber advantage, looking not to pop unless they absolutely have to. A lot of damage has been taken though. Everyone's really weak, having to get arrowed up. They've even lost Maki here, but they do have an Uber raise to go.
This is a really nice positioning here for Fence. They don't have a medics, they can't stay for too long, but it's so hard for Aragosta to actually commit. Now popping an Uber charge of their own is the rule though, unfortunately. Beefing a jump a little bit, and that's so much space now lost for the side of Fence. They can't really stay on this mid anymore, just QB left alive and take it down. Spawn can come in for free. Now, it's Fence. They played this really aggressively, but they didn't get the Uber force that they wanted to, and you can see Aragosta now looking to pounce. Massive advantage. They're setting it up in through house. Uber comes forward. There's a lot of damage down, and Davey instantly locks down Mula once again. Uber completely gone, no heals, but no kills either for the side of Aragosta. They found one. Demoul's playing tricky and lower here. One medic up top. He fancies a few options, but this is a really difficult flank.
Yeah, looks like Maki is, if not aware of Demul, is at least aware of the opportunity. He's spotted him now, so Demul has been accounted for, is going to be behind. Probably going to have a scout run him down as well. He's actually been able to somehow sneak past the flank, might be able to get himself back to safety. No, there's one more scout that he might have to deal with. They actually both, Juxta and Varnu, descend on him, so he's gone down, but he has at least bought some time for his team. They are still at a 20% Uber advantage, but that is, I mean, that can be kind of narrow at this kind of level.
It's really hard, right? Trying to push into this loss. There's a gun up as well. There's so much ground you have to cover. Heavy as well as a pyro. Now for Nevo.
Oh!
It is just boy dropping Uber's massive stickies from Delhi. You see Davey just has to send it in onto Mula already. But Mula perfectly staying alive for now. It's 75%, and that is a disastrous little drop there. Beautiful stickies from Delhi, but boy, that one has to sting.
Yeah, that is rough when your pocket scout is not checking that trap, or at least not communicating it in time. That is tough. I mean, that's got to go down on the scout, I have to feel, but either way, bit of a disaster for Aragosta. And Fence now have a springboard opportunity to go forward. Big advantage. Maki's still in the respawn queue, looking to maneuver themselves, dropping to the lower area into this valley and pushing themselves towards mid. It's kind of passive.
Do you think anyone ever gets the public in this game, Dave? We just get the backstab straight in from Manu. Massive little play there. Now it's a soldier sack in behind, but this is a bit weird now. I think, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, again, they're just playing the same as they did on the previous kind of push. Brugman is really nicely in, but just about Poi survived. See, that was, what, single-digit health he ended up on? He's got a health back now.
147 there onto Poi, just barely surviving. It was a beautiful bomb from Poi, to be honest. Really nicely timed. Unfortunately, just a little bit too far gone, those rockets there. Poi barely surviving, and I think that just might be the difference maker. This looks like it should be an insurmountable advantage here for Fence to overcome. It is an early kill here. Onto C, it's actually Davey getting really aggressive as well. He almost drops down. The soldier aggression coming out from Fence. We're taken down now onto the last. It's a scout pressuring the point, and it's so capped already. Davey, a lot of damage dealt by the stickies, but this is the Frenchie surging around the point, actually fighting a lot of frags here. Maki is only 11 HP, stuck in the spawn door, and I don't think there's space there for Aragosta to actually come forwards, and that is the Frenchies holding once again.
Yeah, throughout all of it, just really smart play by Demul, knowing he could take a chance before the combo would come in. Takes a 1v1, wins it against Sia. That gives himself an opportunity to then be followed up by Brugman. A lot of damage coming down, but we're still scrapping over the second point. At the moment, the Frenchies seem to have locked it down. They are going to evacuate with Davey going down on Aragosta's side of things. And there is a bit of advantage for Mula to work with as they move towards mid here, with no demo, no stickies to worry about.
Yeah, this is an early kill onto QB. However, there's so much damage dealt on both sides here into this blue house. And Manu going down as well, Maki trading, but he does get that force Mula so low. And it's Deli with a nice little jump forwards, nice pipe onto the scout. The frags instead is Davey falling. Offense coming out on top of this one for now. Boy, almost full Uber. And this is Sia, look at him behind as well. Juxta, big health to work with, but there are no teammates here, but you're just trying to block this middle point with this Uber. Sia's in behind, trying to buy as much time as you can, but it's so difficult here, right? The rest of the Frenchies can't come forwards. You're just 9 HP, taken down, but a swarm to Delhi, and now suddenly Boy had an Uber disadvantage, completely gone. We're fine.
Yeah, seems a little bit risky to take on a scout solo Uber when you've got a player behind. But it's worked out for them. They've got the block. They've even got some cap time on second from that big soldier flank. So now looking to move forward. And Vanu is just in. Vanu's really deep, but doesn't quite find enough damage down onto Mula.
Unfortunate death there from Demul as well, just kind of catching some spam. And unfortunately falling to his own little splash rocket as well. Now means that this is even Ubers here, but it's a weird position on mid, right? You can see the soldier bombs coming across, just trying to prevent the enemy team from going in. Evo ends up eating some sticky bombs, and that's gonna, I think, just shut down the French aggression. QB falling as well. No scouts really at all to be found, and this is suddenly 3 down for the Frenchies here. Even Ubers on both sides, but this is not a favorable fight for the Frenchies to take. Look at how far back they're sitting.
Yeah, I don't think this is a fight you want to take at all. They're going to just back up to last. Delhi, sorry, was just looking for a sticky trap briefly. Didn't find anything this time, but you can see players are up now, but maybe an opportunity to peek some players in for Aragosta. Juxta's already positioning. See, both soldiers are now going in, but both just going straight into a heavy weapons guy and are going to give their lives for it.
Yeah, they try to sack forward, but it's such a difficult sack to make, right? We've already seen it a few times at this point. This has been a tale of Aragosta getting really sizable advantages here. Just unable to convert those last pushes once again. But this is another sort of relatively favorable fight. It's just Rudgman going in. There's actually kills a QB as well, but Nevo has managed to hold onto that Uber with Lula for so long. But for how long, right? This is Maki sacking in onto the point to try and get that force. It's just Sia coming in instead. We've traded 2 soldiers. There's a scout on the low ground, and there is no space at all for Aragosta on this second point. We're going to have to run back to mid, and it's still super scary here for them.
It was really strange because Davey actually won a nice 1v1 at close range with Brugman, but they just got so little damage down in that Uber that Mula did not have to pop grenades. They ended up having to throw 2 more players in for it. Still in with the fight now. Demul is just going to find Juxta over on this flank, going to go back, regroup with his team as they're looking to maneuver with this scout pick. As they're still capping up this midpoint, but they're already moving in towards second.
Vanu's up on a sniper hit. Let's see if they're able to find much of anything. Brugman just sacking forward. Vanu! Headshot on the 2 Mula. Uber charges deleted once again. This is a really nice fight from Davey. Also, just Brugman trying to go forwards, finding whatever he can, but unfortunately, just too many red health bars for the moment. QB trying to cause a bit of chaos, but you're only 3 HP. 1 Nevo in lower, but I think he's already been spotted. Just in onto the scout, however. With the 1v1, no, we can't. There's a Juxta to help out. And suddenly, Uber's back in the red favorite.
Yeah, SMG Gaming and Aragosta just fully absorbing all that aggression. It's just full W all in once the medic had gone down to that snipe. Didn't quite work out, didn't get what they really wanted, the prize that would have been the frag onto Poise. So, as you say, it's going to be basically full Uber advantage, already maneuvering their way in towards this mid. There's now going to be a bomb from Brugman. It's just a fake out. Oh. But Demul, he's in behind, finds Sia, finds some damage on both sides, finds Vanu as well, and he's still going. And he's just going to have to pop out there by point, otherwise all 3 of them would have been deleted, their zone circled.
That's such a nice bomb in from Demul. Does so much damage. Forces the Uber out as well. And the Uber comes out, and they can't do anything with it. They're just so forced back. He found 2 frags, but he did so much damage to 2 other players as well. Aragosta completely forced to eliminate themselves from the second point. They're already back in lobby. It's Brugman trying to commit a bit further, but this is also getting that Uber force now. FF finally. Massive Uber advantage here, trying to roll it in onto the enemy last. They've already lost their demo man, however, but they're going to try to make the push regardless.
Yeah, Delhi was just holding the W key, but now it's Brugman and Nevo that it comes down to. Flashes on towards the point. Got a decent amount of cap time. Nevo is still standing on it. There's now a heavy weapons guy, Vanu, on top of it. But Brugman is still healthy. He's still got the other soldier, Demul, committing as well. Brugman flanks around the back, does pick up Poi, but I think that's going to be little bit of a Pyrrhic victory there. And they get the medic frag, but everyone else has gone down.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate there for Forfence. It is Brugman, though, with that really nice sort of salvage play to get onto Poi. Actually netting Muller another solid sort of 30% advantage. Frenchies, I don't think they're going to push off this, to be honest. I don't think Metalworks is a map where you can really make a 30 Uber advantage into the last kind of work. You have to sort of, when you want to make these work, you have to be able to sort of get in and take the space and immediately one-shot the medics so they don't get Uber themselves. Unfortunately, I think it's just too hard to cover the distance. Losing your demo man like that, though, the stickies from Davey, also not an amazing start. The point is half cap, though, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, they did last time try and make it happen with no Delhi, so this is now potentially 2 in a row advantage pushes with no demo. It looks like they're thinking better of it. They're just going to stall for now. Think about how are they going to, make a sack play, try and get themselves an advantage where at least they will have a demo man to push with.
So for the moment, we're just kind of sitting on last on both sides, right? You can see the Frenchies posturing around, trying to scout out the opponent before they send in any kind of sack. And there we go. It is Demul sending early here, straight onto the point. That's going to kill Vanu, but unfortunately, the engineer kill is not going to be enough. Roachman has decent position here, and they're actually going to manage to get the sentry gun, and even more importantly, the dispenser does go down here for Vanu, not able to repair their buildings. Roachman just has to go for high bomb, doesn't find anything. Nevo falling on that flank play as well. It is a 4-man sack in for Poi, and it is completely unsuccessful. So that means now the Frenchies are all the way back on second. Really nice rocket there from Demul onto Sia, shuts him down. Just don't think they'll be able to hold off in time. It's actually just Demul going in. Might find the follow-up air shot. Teammate almost there, but is Deli really struggling to get through that choke point.
Yeah, Davey went down to really low health on 2 separate occasions there, but does manage to persevere throughout all of it. But look at this, a flank round from Nevo. They're just going to take the Uber trade into them. They pop much later. They're having to flash a little bit more, and I don't really like where Mula is. He's in a world of hurt, just running into red players, and now Aragosta just looking to... Oh, but actually now, Nevo on the low ground, Poi's gone down. They just seem to be losing the fight. He claimed the medic, but that was about it.
Yeah, they really committed far forwards to get that kill onto Mula, but unfortunately that just left them in a position where none of them were really healthy, and they were just surrounded by explosive classes in that house, which meant their distance was so short and so easy for the blue soldiers rather to come in, clean up now. I think though it's the Frenchies' time to overcommit ever so slightly. They go in, but look at the kill they find. Once again, it's Poi deleted, and that now nets. Despite this sort of initial stumbling for Forfence with that advantage, now it gives Mula time to build up this Uber advantage. It's already at 50%. And this is now Frenchies once again looking to turn this game around and take a round on the board for what has been an incredibly long first round.
Yeah, this is probably the best opportunity now. It's such a big advantage that you're not really having to worry about the fact that Aragosta could get Uber in time. As you said, it was a little bit messy with her just pushing in there. They had a player advantage, but they've managed to convert it into a big Uber advantage now and looking to move in from left.
Yeah, it's just going to come straight in onto Deli and onto Nevo. As Uber comes in straight away, deletes the sentry gun. Mackie falling as well to Nevo, and that's Davey. Falling to Sticky Bombs. QB as well with a kill onto CM. Means it's just one scout at this point. Gets cleaned up. And Forfence, after 18 long minutes, managed to claim that first round. Hard fought for Aragosta, but that's really got to sting. They had multiple opportunities there with a big Uber advantage to push it onto the enemy last, unable to capitalize, and Forfence crawling their way back ever so slowly, taking that first round.
Yeah, absolutely nice last push, and really the most decisive one we've seen. We've had a couple of fails on both sides of things, but finally one team is able to break through, having a big advantage and really make the count as we move into another mid.
Back onto the middle now. It's really, once again, super early damage here onto Deli. Really struggling to get in onto the middle, but this time around it's Davey falling, and that's Brugman coming in for 2. With Poi falling as well, there's no HP left on the side of Aragosta. They have sort of one Hail Mary push as Mackie sacks in. Banu's in on a flank in onto House, hits decent damage, but unfortunately just not enough. One clean-up kill onto QB will not do it. Perhaps a second onto Brugman might, but this is Juxta versus the entire world on his own. Don't know if he fancies his chances. There's no respawners up, so instead Juxta's going to run back on a flank. try to pester people, they're going to know he's going to be here as well.
Yeah, Demul is aware that he's somewhere in behind. They don't know exactly where. It's always these, particularly on a map like this, where there's just so many different choke points and exits and entrances. You could always, have that thing in the back of your mind. Did he, sneak past us? Did he get back into his team? Is he still behind? If they don't spot him for a while, I don't think they have seen him for quite a while. Demul is just basically committing to looking behind, and he is really on the ball there.
Yeah, those are really nice rockets onto Juxta. Shuts him down straight away, and that's just a free pick. Full fence as they come in onto last already. It's a heavy shove, really far back, but he's not taking that much damage, I say, as he immediately eats 300, and now it's one kill onto Nevo, but Deadly is doing so much damage. Cleaned up there by Demul, but that's Deadly coming forward. Massive push from him, and suddenly full fence. Much faster round. This is, I think, a bit more what we expected. Aragosta just had nothing to say in that round whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely, and for a second round in a row, Delhi just absolutely dominating in that last push, and shows how over Demo last is. They had 2 fails where one time they failed as Delhi went down early, one time they cancelled because Delhi went down early. This time, we've now had 2 in a row where he's just put so much damage down, and looking to continue that on this mid fight.
Walking in onto middle here is Delhi. Once again, super damage straight in onto Davey. Once again, just taken down. It's a nice little bomb there from Demul. Unfortunately, not finding those miracle rockets. So now it's only Mackie. Down to 60 HP, stuck in behind onto House, but there's just no positioning here for the side of Aragosta. I say they're just bustling their way forwards onto middle, but they don't have the players, they don't have the health bars, and unfortunately that means they're going to lose Manu already, and I think that's just an overcommit too much. Juxta dies in the retreat. There's no one quite there to meet up with Poi, and this is QB on hunt. It's joined by a soldier compatriot, but it doesn't matter at all. Cleaning up Poi, and that is a super, super late death hit. This is really scary for Aragosta now.
Yeah, this is back against the wall time. You're already 2 down. You've only got less than 10 minutes left now, and we're pretty much talking about more or less match point. I think if they were to cap this out, it would be way too far to rebound. So at the moment, they're just playing back, playing nice and safe, and making sure they get all 6 of their gamers in position before they look to move. As you say, it is a chunky Uber advantage. Taking their time, finding exactly which angle that they want to move in from here.
Yeah, this time around, there's not that much time pressure. Poi at 80%. Uber's going to come in onto Nevo. Pyro is up to try to deflect this scout. It is doing a decent job, but Banu now falling. Sentry Gun as well. Gives so much more room for Forfeit to come in. Kill onto Davey as well. No stickies on the point. The rocket from Mackie unfortunately just hits pure air, as now the soldiers are actually getting cleaned up. There's only 2 left alive for Forfeit. That's all you need. It's 1 at Delhi, 1 at Mula, cleaning up, and Forfence 3-0 up. Aragosta have to move so fast if they want to keep themselves in this game now.
Yeah, classic last push, just get cap time on the point, get your demo in a position where you can just fire a million projectiles at the players that dive onto that point. And very capably done by Delhi, and once more, him being crucial to capping out the round. And now, as you say, Aragosta really need a clean mid-fight here.
Super fast bomb in there from Grudgman, just putting super early pressure onto Davey. Look at his HP, he's already down to 60. It's so hard to play the game. There's a follow-up bomb trying to alleviate some pressure, comes in from Aragosta, but it's a bit disjointed. Just Mackie and Banu falling, as the rest of the team nowhere near them to support them, and that means everyone else from Aragosta now, the pressure valve unsuccessful, being released, and that's just one Davey trying to catch out the soldier, who is still up and still chasing onto Davey, onto Poi. It's a complete wipe, and I think Forfeit now just looking to roll this all the way in. They're not even in camp second, they're just going to go in spawn camp.
Yeah, but in a world of hurt, Vardy's trying to come out on Spy, but I think he's been spotted probably. Maybe wasn't expecting players to be quite so close, but Mulu is already on this last point. There is a 2x cap on the second point, so 1 scout is still going to be committed to that, but at the moment, players can't even really leave spawn from Aragosta. Pyro is out from Juxta, the Uber is out though from Forfence. Demul is just doing a million damage. It's going to be everyone cleaned up, and it is going to be a 4th round here.
Yeah, this is now fully dead time here for Forfence. Taking a little while to warm up there, I think. I think we would have expected this to be a roll a bit sooner, but now full fence. They get that first round. Aragosta put up a really good fight for about 18 minutes, and it feels like after that they just kind of collapsed in on themselves, not really managing to show up on the mids, and full fence are just doing such a good job. They get that decisive mid advantage, and they just roll it all the way forwards. Aragosta, nothing to be said now. We're playing for brownie points.
Yeah, playing to not get 5-0'd, I guess, and playing to maybe get around themselves, and also maybe to just work on the mids for future encounters, either with offense or other teams. You know, but once more, they didn't even really get onto the mid fight here. You know, maybe we are in garbage time, but that doesn't bode well. UB is able to just run in and run down point.
Yeah, this is really hard for them to do anything with now. This is full fence looking for that 5-0 here. So much damage though. QB just on the flank of Lifetime, right? Just getting in, getting a kill onto Boy, getting another frag onto Juxta on the way out as well. This is Manu up on a Desperation Spy, trying to salvage literally anything at this point. But it's so hard, right? Full fence up 4-0. They can kind of do whatever they want. It feels like they're completely dominating. Bonus Sniper spotted out, doesn't do anything. Play with another QB rather than another kill.
Yeah, and you know they just want to convert this round, I think, and maybe Aragosta want this to be over at this stage as well. They're probably thinking about a second map, or if Devi has better ideas. Nevo is going to get picked up by that trap. They might be able to catch. Well, I guess we're not even going to see what happens because, I mean, I think we can guess, right?
Guys, if you guys are mad that you didn't see the last, like, let's say 2 minutes of that game, you are all very welcome to @Demool91 in the chat. Make it known. I think maybe even message him on Steam, just to let him know and think about what he did. But yeah, no, that was full fence. Just kind of, it took a while to ramp up, but when they got there, they were just kind of ahead completely. There was nothing to be said. They fixed that mid. The first mid didn't go to plan. After that, they fixed their mids. So much like early aggression coming in there for the side, especially Brugman, just like shoving them all into a corner. Aragosta never able to go anywhere, and it just made the rest of the game so hard to play. I think full fence really sort of outclassing pretty much every aspect of the map. Aragosta, I think that first round really has this thing as well. They had a few advantages. The first 18 minutes, this was a really close game, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's maybe a little bit simplistic to say they were outclassing throughout the map. I think what we saw was, you know, obviously those last few mid-fights were decisively in full fence's favour, and they were very good at converting those last push advantages. But when it was kind of back and forth, when it was a case of teams, you know, having to force Uber, negotiate advantages, even trade Uber at stages, we could see that Aragosta did a good job of living with them. They did a good job of competing, but it was just, you know, when full fence had those advantages, when they had those clean mid-fight victories, they were just very lethal in terms of converting those.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the sign, I think there's Prem teams, and then there's sort of the upper level and of Prem teams, or sort of upper level of TF2 teams in general. I think one of the real characteristics for me is sort of ability to play off of advantages, right? Of sort of the smaller advantages that aren't, you know, like we have 50, 70, 80% Uber ad and a couple player advantages as well, but like really able to roll off the smaller positional advantages that you get. It's something that Witness, I think, have been the best in Europe at doing for a long time. I think Full Fence are another team that are also really good at playing off those tiny advantages, and they're doing it here as well. I think interesting for me, honestly, I was not expecting this, but Demool actually topping the board here for Full Fence, really having a good game.
Yeah, he was probably the player that I would have shouted out as being the most impactful for full fence. I thought there were a lot of times, even, you know, on those defenses early on, where he was really making a difference. He was just really smartly engaging, making sure he wasn't, you know, if he was making plays, he was either getting a trade or doing it at the right times where he wasn't costing his team by dying, because that is something you've always got to worry about when you're playing Soldier, that if you are going down, are you really giving the opposition a massive opportunity through your death? Because as a Soldier, you have to make plays, you have to make space for your team, but it has to be at the right times, and Demool is the master of knowing exactly when to make those plays.
Yeah, it was super nice for him. Obviously, shoutouts to Delhi as well. Really dominant game, but I think another just We saw it earlier as well. I think Juxta did have a very good game. But I do think there's Juxta having a pretty good game, and then I also think Sia did not have the best of showings. It's obviously not an easy opponent to go up against, but really, like, there is, I think, a bit left to be desired there on that side for the French soldier here. Looking at some medic stacks on the board, I'm not gonna lie, medic stats are kind of for nerds in a lot of ways. But importantly, I will say, Ruler 2 drops to 1. Is he washed?
I mean, we saw those 3 drops in, what was it, the first 5 minutes? That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Both medics, I guess, stabilized. I mean, and, you know, Sia was responsible for one of those drops. It was that big high bomb from Sia that got the first drop onto Müller. So, you know, that was probably the highlight overall for the side of Aragosta. But let's hope now moving into a second map, if they can get a little bit more leverage on these mid fights and stabilize a little bit better, that once more they'll be competitive for, you know, at least a good chunk of this map, hopefully.
Yeah, I think this is another map where it can be really slow. This is another notoriously really difficult last hold to break on Sunshine, but it's also, I think, for me, another important factor is that this is not really a French map, right? I think we look at a map like Metalworks and it's really easy to see that they're super, super strong on it. They all really like the map. It really fits into their style. I think Sunshine a little bit less so. It is quite demo-centric, and obviously Delhi is one of the better demos we have in Europe. Certainly top 3. I think very brave statement of me to make that. At least playing in the season currently. But yeah, I think this is just a map that doesn't quite fit them as well. The soldier bombs aren't quite as fluid. It's a bit more like bit more flowcharty the way the map works. But yeah, I think we are going to go live here, Dave, once again. This is ETF2L Season 50 here, map number 2 between Aragosta. Offense, Aragosta still looking to take any sort of points they can versus the French Titans, but the French Titans looking to just cement themselves as high up on the tables as they can. Week 2, map 2 did not work out in the favor of Aragosta on map number 1. We're back onto middle. Once again, it's Roachman super early aggression, but it's QB first of all.
Yeah, Naki jumps in, tries to just pin Delhi back, doesn't feel able to get significant damage to really play through anything, but Demul has found Boy in the meantime. They're really chasing forward, everyone is grouped up, but the bombs are in. Mueller's launch up in the air, but beautiful serve, but it's not going to be enough, because the fadeaway pipe from Davey is going to take down Mueller and equalize the medic situation and the Uber situation.
A last whisper there from Davey from across the other side, just getting it through onto Mula. Super late death now. What in play is a little bit of an advantage here. This is a super scrappy mid fight. I think we're just going to kind of develop into another one. But it is full fence, sort of initially, early on, taking the position on mid. But you can see heals on the side for Aragosta, meaning that they're going to try and take this fight. Now, Boy is going to move across. There's just no help, because Mula not with his team at all quite yet. So this is going to be a cap coming forward for Aragosta. Positioning is kind of there, but Frenchie's going back in as a double soldier bomb, coming straight over to Boy, and Boy is just defeated by Jamul there. Now, Davey taken down as well, as the French is taking the space, and unfortunately, Aragosta hook, line, and sinker for a little French bait there.
Yeah, Vanu runs in, doesn't quite find anything. Mula goes down low once more, but this time is able to just survive all the incoming damage and persevere throughout it. So they're already moving themselves onto second, have a big Uber advantage to think about this last push. Probably already calling exactly where they want to move. They're going to have to deal with a sentry gun that is, at the moment, level 2. So it's going to deflect and knock some people back, but here we go with the Uber.
Yeah, Uber straight in onto the gun of Juxta, already taken down as a little bit of cap time comes across, but we're just going to rotate on over, get the kill onto Davey as well. One Cuba falling, but Sia is just dead as well. One soldier, Mackie, trying to hold onto the point. Kelly falls in the end, but it doesn't matter. There's no point presence left, and it's just the Bull, 29 HP. Able to cap the point. That is round 1 on the board for Forfence. Not quite successful in the first mid, but on the repeat, they come in, give up the point, but then just get much superior position. But it comes off just that huge bomb there from Demul.
Absolutely, and the last push as well, really Demul being instrumental. I thought for a second that it was gonna fizzle out, but just Demul waddling around in the kind of post fight and finding the rockets required.
Now back onto the middle. It's Mackie playing hype super early on here. Trying to make sure that he can spot out as many opponents as possible now. Rotating around, and this is sort of a classic Sunshine middle where both teams sort of trade across onto the enemy side. Mackie bombing back up across the top, but takes a lot of damage in the meantime. However, we're trying to move for Juxta there, as it's actually Mackie going in forwards as well. QB manages to find the better of him, but boy, just taken down by Brugman, who sends it forwards, and now the health bar is just no longer there for Aragosta. Both stuck under the point, both minuscule amounts of HP taken down, wipe for the side of Forfens, and a massive advantage here, rolling it in onto second.
Yeah, a really big play from Brugman, I have to say. Went in behind, went in through choke, and then found the perfect timing on the bomb to land on Poi. He was deleted by Vanu a split second after, but it was already too late. And fortunately for Aragosta, it just kind of crumbled a little bit once that medic had gone down. They kind of lost a bit of direction, and now back on their last, holding on for dear life.
This is a bit scary now here for Aragosta. Massive uber disadvantage. They have a heavy up in a weird position, but no gun here. It's just going to sit so far back. And that means it just gets spammed out without really doing much. Instead, Vanu playing really aggressive onto this heavy. Actually does get the kill onto the move, but the surprise factor now gone. No heavy, no sentry. Means that Sia's in on this flank, but what does it really do instead? It's going to allow offense to come forwards. One cleanup kill onto QB is a decent stop, but look at the damage dealt by the Frenchies coming forwards onto this enemy combo. All of them down to half HP, but Nevo, without teammates and without Deli, means that he cannot stay forwards. Instead, Aragosta holding on for now. He fancies himself. Bit of a push forwards, but it is just Juxta peeking in through shutters now. Further aggression comes out.
Our control point is being captured.
A decent little hold. I mean, Frenchies didn't really make the most of Deli's position in there, but looking to continue to scrap onto second. The bomb is now in from Demul, finds David. I think that's going to be the only casualty, but that is a big one. It's going to allow the Frenchies to continue to pressure forward.
This is really scary now. They have this massive uber advantage to work with. They're sitting on 50%, but unfortunately losing Davey there means completely over fight now instead. It is Poi having to play around his life, but unfortunately, it's just Brugman in with a massive bomb, getting a force onto Poi. They're going to get a kill onto Nevo as well. Deli falling, obviously, earlier on. This is 3 down here, but Mula 100% with the high ground as well. This is a bit difficult here for Aragosta to actually take that fight. Uber comes forward, in from Mula, only finds 1 frag. This is a lot of cap time from Vanu. Actually, Soldier of Sia in behind onto Mula, forces herself forward. It's going to live for now, prepare his position here. We're going to stay forward, fighting our Aragosta, moving forwards onto the point here. Damage dealt, Poi quite low, stuck in a corner, but not going to be dying to Deli as his stickies just die, fizzle out before he can get any damage dealt. Now, look at Poi though, stuck forward, no teammates, and that is QB going to try to catch him out. The rest of the players following up, and this is suddenly, that was looking pretty decent for Aragosta, but now you're down a demo, you're down a medic, and this is a very tricky last point to hold.
Yeah, it's all down to Maggie doing his best, does find the trade out onto Brugman. Might slow the Frenchies down just a little bit. They've got a sentry gun up. They've got Juxta up on the sniper. So the Frenchies are just going to back up, reset, get their spawners in, build up this uber advantage, and work from there.
They have 85%. It's a sniper up from Juxta. One last little hope. A little prayer maybe that a sniper finds some kind of epic cool shot. But I think just most of the time, right, you've probably called out the sniper already. I'm pretty sure the Frenchies are aware. This Ubercharge can just come in and pop before the sniper has any chance to do anything about anyone. It is just a sentry gun taken down by Deli already. The scouts onto the point, half capped already. It's just one Davey, but he's just not enough. One Deli sticks onto the point and is captured already. Now 2-0 up for the Frenchies. 8 minutes have passed, and it's looking much more dominant here for them on Sunshine.
Yeah, Soldier's a bit sluggish to get in the air there from Aragosta, not really bombing the point and allowing way too much cap time. Just Demo and Scout standing on it is a 3x cap, and it does end the round pretty quickly if your soldiers are not on point, and they weren't quite there from Aragosta. So now they need to rebound, already 2 rounds down.
Back onto middle here, it's early pressure from Mackie once again, forced to retreat through lower. But I think that early pressure just opens the door straight away from the blue soldier to just completely get in behind. Davey instantly eliminated as well, but Mula really far forward, finally called out. Aragosta catch themselves, a bit of a break. Now Demul went in behind, onto the flank, needs to find onto Poi, and his QB just barely falling up with a pistol there, falling onto his crosshair as Poi, and that was one faint little glimmer of hope for Aragosta, but unfortunately in the final little glimmers of the mid-fight,
We have secured the
quite
control
enough.
point.
They lose the advantage that they had gained. This is now an
Our
even
control
fight here.
point is being captured.
I really like how they approached that though. They saw both soldiers go really deep in behind into the second point, and they just said they're doing last Devi, but they just said, you know, let's just go for it. This whole W went straight into the face of the Frenchies, and without their soldiers, it was very, very easy for those two scouts to just completely run over the Frenchies. And now they've got themselves at least this mid and at least a little bit of control. Miller's up with a small Uber advantage, but probably not anything they can really make work. So at the moment, it's probably on Aragosta, as both these teams are probably going to build up Uber. And I don't expect the Frenchies to really make a push.
The classical play here is doing a bit of aggression with one soldier in through towards either Cafe or Choke, and then you sent the other one in through Valley on some kind of speed shot. You can see actually playing really far back here on top of that bell tower. Mackie a little bit further forwards through Choke, but this is a tricky second to break here, especially Delhi setting up these stickies onto Valley, expecting the early aggression. You can see Jux already favoring it, peeking it slightly forwards, but this is now just, you can see Poi buffing up his players. I think you kind of see what it's coming, right? Buff up your soldiers, send them in kind of one at a time, delayed after each other, cause some aggression in through Cafe, send the soldiers forwards, try to get onto Mula. You can see how far back he's playing though, I think realizing what might just be about to happen.
Yep, Davey taking the beam and taking the pressure. They get forward momentum in from this Cafe area. Doesn't want to get sticked out by Delhi though, and does, because the bomb is in from Mackie. Does trade out onto Delhi, but it's nowhere near Mula, and with a player advantage now, they're looking to maneuver their way in through Cafe. Gonna have to trade out on Aragosta's side, and that is giving Frenchies an opportunity to move into this mid.
They are down a demo though, so it's going to be a bit hard for them to hold on sort of fully. Juxta with a really nice shutdown there onto Brugeman, two really beautiful shots, but unfortunately it's just not enough. No positioning on middle for Aragosta means they're going to have to give it up anyway. It's even Ubers, but you are down two. That's a bit scary. Full fence not entirely fancying themselves a push. It's not quite yet, but they do still have the numbers advantage. I think they could go, should they please. You can see them now going forwards, joined up by Delhi once again. He's just going to send stickies in through point. There's one soldier going forwards now, but now Mackie. This kill on to QB. He's going to shut down the aggression at least a little bit. One soldier can bomb forwards. Not going to find anything. We're going to move back. I think we're settling in. Even moving once again. I think this time around, map situation's flipped. Now full fence with control of middle. You see Mackie actually playing this really far forward, aggressive, trying to support the play of Sia, but just gets cleaned up, and that means that now, however, look at Davey, trades his life for Delhi, and this is weird. I don't like this.
Yeah, no Sia, no demo as well with Davey going down. Did take Delhi out, but it's gonna give an opportunity here for full fence to go forward. Toys having to use the Uber out onto Jux, so they are going quite hard. Mula is milking, not finding the shots onto Mula at all. Jugs are missing a lot of shots. Eventually cleaned up. Mula still hasn't actually used. The bomb is now in from Mackie. Mula is able to dodge away from that, and Nevo is able to dodge around the health back as well. Nice little play, and they just haven't used Uber whatsoever.
Yeah, Mackie actually gets a really good bomb angle in onto Mula, but actually just decides to not even shoot him. This now means a Mula ginormous advantage, right? Really nice dodging onto the scout, and then unfortunately Mackie not finding the correct target in his crosshair means that Delhi can just surge forward in onto last here. It's 2 kills already for Nevo and QB cleaning up house. It's actually 0 damage dealt by Delhi. It feels like when everyone else on his team stepping up. 3-0 now for full fence. We've been here for about 12 minutes. This is looking much faster, much cleaner, and much more dominant here.
Yeah, I think that was just all on the back of Mula. Just so smart movement and so smart of just knowing exactly where to position himself to avoid all the incoming damage and all the incoming pressure as well. You know, when you got a soldier with that ability to bomb on top of you, you've got to just position yourself on the dot, and he was perfect for it, and they had that. Gave themselves a full Uber advantage to work with.
Advantage really, really nice for the Frenchies. 3-0 up already. This time around, super early bombing from Mule, not really finding much of anything. Puts Banu decently low, but once again, we're sort of trading positions here on mid. But that kind of feels like, at the moment at least, it just feels like Aragosta is stuck waiting for Brugeman and the Wall to come in and just send meteors into the enemy team. So much damage dealt here across the entire side. This is a very aggressive Deli, but unfortunately not finding any frags. Instead, it's just Mula going down. Wondermul is not in behind. That's his own side. It's so weird, right? Because the enemy team is playing on Blue Cafe, and then I see like blue players in behind Blue Cafe, and I'm like, wait, how did he get there? But it's actually just respawning, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's really strange there from Aragosta ended up pinned. Basically, everyone was committed deep into their opponent's cafe, as you said, but Frenchies just really didn't make the most of it that time. A rare slip-up of what's been a pretty flawless performance so far from them, just not making the most. Could have, just completely stickied out had Delhi been able to go forward, but either way, Aragosta now an opportunity to think about this last push.
Setting it up already now. They had a bunch of opportunities on Metalworks and unable to capitalize fully. It's already 70% here for Mula. You're gonna have to send it up at some point. It is not a good start there onto Davey. Really nice little spam from forwards from the Frenchies means that Davey cannot jump forwards. It's still gonna get taken down. That gun is now Sia comes forwards. Actually, there's just no French members on the point. But Aragosta, you send a scout on, you send a soldier on, and you just get around for free there. 4 Bents caught with their pants down. Have to say, very puzzling round. We're praising them, saying they're doing good. And they're listening. They're like, nah, actually, never mind. Let's stay here a bit longer.
Yeah, definitely a slip up on the mid, definitely a slip up on that last, just not really respecting the point cap pressure. As looks like we're going to go and have a pause here.
Yep, that is classic Frenchies throw into pause. Making sure everyone saw that. Of course, guys, there's this new feature on Twitch where if you want to scroll back and watch that last round, you actually can. If you subscribe to Essentials TF. I have no idea where that money goes, by the way. I just know that if you press the button, you can scroll back. You can gift to a friend as well. Who knows? You can do that. You could. You can scroll back and you watch the round. At the moment, not much is happening. We just paused up. Anything could be the cause of this, by the way. We have no source of communication. I'm assuming
do we? I'm pretty sure Ben has just posted. He's saying apparently Mula is the player at timeout. Medic, not the class you want at timing out. You'd have to hope it's in, hopefully, a stalemate situation rather than in the middle of a fight. But I mean, there hasn't been too many stalemates so far, so that doesn't really bode too well for the Frenchies. But we hope and pray that it's a situation where the medic just times out in a stalemate and you can go and reset. You can give him the Uber swords if you need. But yeah, if it is in a fight and in an unfortunate situation, that could really work against them.
I miss the days where if you were healing someone and you paused the game, you would unpause, and no matter like what percentage you were before the pause, you just have Uber. So before you paused, you'd have to like stop healing to make sure you wouldn't accidentally get full Uber charge.
Yeah, that was
good times.
That was a nightmare.
Shout out to Tweaku for fixing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had a few games where we had to like replay rounds or get situations sorted. Oh, it wasn't good. Wasn't good.
I wonder. Is this just like a completely? I think this is weird, right? I think this post happens, and like honestly, I think this just works as like a beautiful mental reset for the Frenchies. I'm not gonna lie. Especially for Aragosta, you get that round and you really want to ride that momentum, right? And sort of, we just unpause slightly, so that means that we pause on pause to let Mula connect back in, I assume. But yeah, I think you're Aragosta, right? And you really want to ride that momentum forward to get another round. This time out just completely takes the wind out of your sails, right? No longer do you have just that instant momentum to go forwards. Instead, now, sort of have to fight and claw it back. Also, while potentially sitting through and waiting for the Frenchies to build back up their Uber to what it was before we unconnected. But there we go, we're unpaused now. Obviously, the pause is going to happen about a minute and a half from now. So between now and then, anything could have happened. We're, of course, walking onto middle here as Aragosta took their first round of this series. So we're going forwards here already. It's an early bomb and straight in onto Void. So much damage dealt, actually. This is a massive French advantage here, coming straight forward. The move falls in the end. Decent cleanup from Juxta, from Banu, but the Soul in from Mula. He's trying to get a 2K, but unfortunately, barely not enough. It's Juxta with the sword, just doesn't bleed out. That is a very close mid, and I guess Mula decides to rage quit off that. And he timed out.
Yeah, no real reason for it to be as close a mid as it should have been. You'd think, you know, with basically only 2 scouts alive for Aragosta, they should have been done for, but no, they both just descend on the combo, just absolutely eat up everyone ahead of them and end up finding the frag onto Mula, and with him going down significantly later, already moving in towards second here with a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, but it's a super early frag here onto QB. Never mind. It's just an absolute demolition onto the side of the red combo here. Davey, Vanu, Juxta, Maki all falling. Just Sia left alive here on the midpoint, not connected with his medic either. And that's a bit scary now. You really just want to run Poi back as far back as you can.
Control point is being captured.
100%. This is where Mula timed out. Game now unpaused. But I'm pretty sure, like, no harm, no foul, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't say exactly whether the Maki was able to get the frag because of Mula timing out or whether it was slightly after. But either way, Mula's not going to have, only just spawned up, so not going to have Uber for this push in towards mid. The only posture in Mula's gone very, very low. He's got Uber Scout in front of him, going to take him out with the sword. It's now about positioning here for Aragosta. Can they put Poi back into safety, back towards the point? Brugman, the only player alive here for the Frenchies, already backing up to last and making sure he's keeping himself alive for what is going to be a last hold, probably.
Yeah, this is pretty good here for Aragosta. We have to remember, there's 13 minutes left, and it's only they're only down 2 rounds. So this is like kind of comeback territory, especially with this advantage the Poi has to work with. About 40% is pretty big now. Aragosta have a big opportunity to make this game a lot closer than Forfent might like. As Sniper up for Nevo, Sentry Gun up for QB, but this is Poi now getting 100%. And I think Aragosta is just going to go as fast as possible. There's a setup coming out already, and I think Uber's just going to come out straight away onto Davey here.
Yeah, going in through the right-hand side. They've got a level 3 sentry gun that Davey takes a little bit of time, a little bit longer than he would have liked to take down. Juxta now playing towards the point where Brugman is there to meet him. Maki in towards the left spawn, get some damage down, lock some players down, and Juxta is going to stand on top of it. Nevo and Brugman in position to block, but it's not going to be enough. Varney was still alive in behind, just going to shoot everyone in the back as Aragosta stand on the point and bring us back to 2-3.
Yeah, this is now suddenly a very close game. Frenchies have to be a bit careful now. 12 minutes, 1 around the difference. Sunshine is a map where it can be really hard if it stalemates and no one gets a sizable advantage. But the second you go to mid and you just lose it, it is very, very easy to drop all the way back to another mid fight. Down another round. So this time around, you can see Maki so aggressive on these early mid fights, taking that bell tower control straight away. Not much damage is dealt, but just about sending that early message, getting that initial spam onto Delhi, forcing him a bit back as the rest of the French aggression does come forward here. But it's a lot of damage onto the red side, rather, just coming forward here. Maki for 2, and this is Brugman down as well. Frenchie's nowhere near healthy. Sia wants to get in onto Mula, doing his best to dodge, juke, and survive somehow, some way. What is that serve?
Beautiful serve, gets him out from under as well. I mean, think about moving towards second. I don't know if this seems a little bit risky. Nevo is still in behind, and actually, a few players down now, waiting on some rather long spawns on the Aragosta side of things. So already the Frenchies have got themselves in formation. They're looking to put themselves in back in and equalise and actually claim this mid.
Super impressive there. It just starts with Mula there. Beautiful serves, dodging, making sure that the enemy cannot catch him. He was playing really far forwards there as well. Super easy to catch him out, but the pipes from Delhi making sure that Sia not finding that frag. And so now Aragosta forced to give up mid, forced to put their eggs into a Vanu spy basket. This is very strange timing. I would not be expecting any of this, and neither does Mula. It's a straight 2K for Vanu as they just come forwards, cleaning up enemy combo. Heavily tries to bomb in onto point, does not find any damage whatsoever. And that, my friends, is what happens when you play Spy at the weirdest timing I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's just on another level, Vanu, you know. No one would have expected him to play Spy, no one would have suggested he should be playing Spy at that time, but he absolutely makes it work, gets the 2K, breaks it open for his team, gets Boy, a big Uber advantage continuing now. Just moving slowly at the moment, putting themselves in the mid, getting the high ground, getting the spam down. There is a Nero sniper out, and there we go. Finds a shot onto Sia. It's going to force the Uber out as well. Just the threat of that sniper eventually does get taken out by Davey, but a lot of damage has been done in the meantime. And 3 players now are down for Aragosta, and they no longer have that Uber.
Aragosta, unfortunately, not really managing to successfully play off the big advantage that they did have with that Uber charge. It's a super nice headshot onto Nevo, onto the Soldier as well, and that just means there's just no Soldier aggression possible for Aragosta, allowing the Frenchies to stay in onto the mid. The flanker behind doesn't find much of anything either. Now Forfence, big 50% advantage here. Evo did die as well. He's back up onto the scout, not even dealing with the burden of a sniper up for this Forfence team. As Uber straight in onto Delhi, straight in onto Last. Early damage onto the sentry gun doesn't quite fall, as it is just swapped off onto the engineer now. Lots of damage dealt though. It's the scout getting so much halftime, and there we go. Forfence extending their round lead to 2, breathing perhaps a bitter sigh of relief there.
Just really good transitions from Forfence. Just that one kind of miracle shot coming out from the Nevo sniper and really converting it, just continuing to press the W key, continuing to go forward. And you know, they had a bit of an Uber advantage. They had a couple of players in their favour, but they took it from what should have been really them giving up the mid to completely spinning it around and converting the round.
Now back onto middle. Aragosta really sort of forced into go time once again. They're down 2 rounds, there's 8 minutes left, and this is a map you can slow if you want to. It is not starting off fantastically. Davey and Poi already falling, but Mula and Demul in return do get taken down by a really nice play there from Mackie, bombing in onto behind, but unfortunately Manu running around kind of in no man's land, unable to find much of anything. Just Juxta forced to go in for the 3K, finds one shot, not another. And no frag video for you, sir. Instead, is QB just capping up the point, and I think Forfence now looking to kind of just take this 5 rounds in regulation, maybe.
Possibly. I mean, they did lose Mula. I mean, Mackie made a bit of a meal of it after it was a very clean bomb and getting himself a really good opening. Took perhaps a couple of extra rockets that he would have wanted. But either way, Forfence, I mean, they might just be happy here to duel it out. They're probably thinking exactly where they want to do. Vanu on the spy once more.
Nah, there's okay. Well, no.
Oh no.
Okay, one thing is you let them like backstab like your whole team, but another is just like letting a spy get off 4 pistols onto your med. That's yeah. That's a bit of a head scratcher there for Forfence. They end up losing most of their team for that as well. Ivano just comes in. Obviously, kudos to them for getting the play done, but yeah, no, that's not the best for Forfence there.
Nope. Another sloppy moment from them. I mean, they've still got a couple of rounds to work with, but gives Aragosta an opportunity, gives them a shot at this. Have the big Uber advantage. Pushing in to the mid-fight. They spotted out the Soldier. That was Dimul. He's got very, very low. Bridgman's been spotted as well. He's playing on the roof as well. And Poi is now in a little bit of trouble. There's still Nevo in the forward spawn on the sniper. He's been dealt with. Poi's hiding underneath the point, still waiting on that little mini pack. That's still really, really low. It's still only about 60 health. But looks like they've been able to manage throughout that. And actually a nice arrow onto Jux is going to keep him alive in that duel with Demul. And they're looking to continue to move forward, but Mula's Uber is up shortly.
Yeah, this is Mula now. Uber ready to defend. I think it's a lot of early damage onto Davey. Actually just ends up falling. No Juxta, no Davey. This is a push. Yeah, I think maybe just a bit of miscommunication for Aragosta. They don't have that much time to play with, right? But again, it wasn't an Uber-fied advantage. I think it's just that makes this push super, super weird. Now you're down 2. You don't have a demo. You're trying to take this scout trade anyway. Vanu just wants to send it forward, and unfortunately Vanu not finding the plays either. There's a lot of low health bars onto this last point, but there's a fully blue player. It's Vanu doing a lot of damage, but unfortunately Mula with the cleanup kill onto Poi. This is not a team ready to follow up on Vanu's aggression at all, and now it's just looking very disjointed here for the side of Aragosta. I think, yeah, this is so weird. I don't think they can make much of anything happen. Juxta aggressing in, lower once again. Health bar's not fully recovered for Forfence, but the arrow just pins him to a wall. And we're fine. Forfence's disaster reverted. 1 hard cap, it's chill. Big ad.
Yeah, I mean, 2 rounds down, 5 minutes to go. They're really throwing the dice here, Aragosta. Perhaps if they were playing, a little bit more textbook, a little bit more with less time pressure, they wouldn't have made some of the choices they have in the last couple of minutes. But continue to fight, continue to put the pressure down. Threat of the backup once more. 3 players in behind, Mackie and Vanu, both very, very low. Thinking about having to deal with Brugman. He is actually... Oh, no, he does just about win that 1v1 with Vanu. As the other Frenchies are just going to... Still haven't really got too much cap time on this second point. Eventually bully the rest of the Aragosta combo out of there. So they are just going to stack the cap up. And with just about 4 minutes to go, Aragosta need to find something. I mean, the one thing they have in their favour, big advantage.
Massive advantage here. You can see them already trying to send it in through flowers. Damage being stealthed across, and it's a super early soldier bomb flank as well. Trying to take as much space as possible. But it's a big bomb in from Demul, straight in onto Boy, and that is uber deleted there. Just completely uncontested, to be honest. Those Scout really playing with Boy, unable to get forwards onto Demul, and that just means that the cleanup slowly going to come forwards here. 2 up, Juxta, Davey left alive, neither really in the position to do much of anything. They want to get the kill on to Boy there, onto Mula as well. Unable to find it. Boy is back up alive, but no real teammates to do much of anything with. Massive advantage now for Fence. Once again, they want to. They could take this before the timer runs out.
Yeah, again, I think they gambled just a little bit with Poi, just playing towards that flowers area, wanted to milk the Uber because they knew they really needed it for last if they are to convert this round. And the soldier was just absolutely ready for them immediately because the Aragosta was completely bullied out of this second point. Everyone's scattering back to last, running for their lives. Mula this time with a big Uber advantage, looking to maneuver in from under.
Coming forwards, popped now straight onto Delhi's. A lot of scout cap time super early on, and look at how far forwards Delhi's playing as well. The cap time absolutely massive here for Aragosta. The pipes are coming through, and there we go, more Fence. Get another round on the board. There's going to be 5-2, map number 2. As 4 Fence taking all 6 points in this week 2 fixture here between Aragosta and 4 Fence. It was looking, I think, close in intervals, but ultimately, I don't know about you, Dave, but I really do think that Frenchies proved that they're looking to contend for the sort of top spots. That they looked, I think, most of the time like they were significantly better than their opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they had certainly, small moments, small wobbles. Aragosta certainly doing their best, and they are tricky customers to go up against. They have a lot of players in their locker that can make it very, very awkward for you, and it was at times awkward for Fence, but there were also just moments where they looked super clean and super on it. And I have to give a big shout out to Mula in that second map, especially. I thought put in a very, very good performance and really kind of showed the value of having what one exceptional medic can bring to a team.
Yeah, I agree. It was a really impressive map. I don't think sort of the immediate stats that we have on the screen right now necessarily show, but I think Mula really put on a bit of a clinic. I think just like there are a couple times where like I think if Poi had just survived a little bit longer, positioned slightly better, maybe Aragosta would have found some advantages they weren't really able to find, and instead that just means that Fofen's able to get across the board. I think the stats are kind of showing on your screen, right? This is a very good map for Vanu, but I think it's kind of once again, I think there's a symptom of Aragosta where it just feels a bit disjointed, to be honest. I think there's many times where they're trying to push either forwards or backwards or something, and they're just a little bit, like, just not quite on the same page. And full fence, on a team like that, they're so good at catching you out on small positioning errors, and it just makes it so hard for you to come out on top. Full fence playing really well. You see it on the stat lines as well, right? They're doing big numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. Just I think everyone putting in a solid performance. I mean, even Brugman, who perhaps doesn't have the greatest numbers going based on this log, I think had his moments throughout this fixture as well. So I think everyone putting in a solid performance. They look pretty good unit overall as well. The Frenchies, definitely some decent moments for Aragosta, but quite a bit to work on as well. I think you're right to point out sometimes the team cohesion, sometimes the synergy isn't quite there with them, but at the end of the day, this is a very, very strong French team that they came up against. They really, made it a decent contest overall on both of the maps, and can look forward to the future. Hopefully, the fixtures get a little bit easier, at least some of them, and maybe in the future they can, take one of these maps.
It's one of those things, right, where like this is a Div 1 team that's kind of promoted into Prem, and you sort of it's sort of the time honored tradition, I think, of the new Prem teams where they come in and you just kind of lose for a really long time. You just kind of have to. I think there is sort of you can kind of climb up to Div 1, but then making it into Prem and playing against these teams that have played in Prem, there's just a bit of a level difference that you sort of have to kind of unfortunately have it beaten into you the hard way. Unless you're instantly amazing, sometimes it happens, but most of the time, and you think back to powerhouse house names of the past, names like Nunya were bottom tier Prem for multiple seasons before they sort of actually had a breakthrough and made it a bit further up. That just takes time. I think if you are this team, there's a lot of while we do have, of course, tenured people like Juxta and Vanu on the team, there's also like names like Mackie, Davey, etc. Right, that have sort of not been in Prem for as long, and it just takes a bit of time, to be honest. There's signs of life, which is good, because sometimes you get a team in Prem and there's no signs of life. And then it's just kind of painful to watch. I do think we've seen good things from Aragosta. They have stuff to work on, for sure, but there's stuff to build on as well. And I think that makes me hopeful for the future.
Absolutely. There's, as you say, there's a wide gap to bridge. You have to deal with the fact that these enemy players are probably more skillful than you. You have to deal with the fact that they're probably more cohesive as a team than you. That kind of double whammy of they're individually better and they're better collectively is something that takes a while to work through. But as you say, Aragosta showing definitely a lot of positives I think they can take from the game, and some things they can look at as well in terms of improving contemporary review this game for sure, and spot a lot of things where they just weren't quite at it. And for Fence, they did the job professionally. At the end of the day, they got the 6 points, they got what they needed, and they'll go on to bigger and better things, and probably looking towards the playoffs themselves.
Speaking of playoffs, we're gonna have to make it at some point. But first, we have one more match this week coming up. I believe it's going to be on Sunday, the 12th. So if I can do my math correctly, 12th should be a Sunday. You guys feel free to disagree with me in the chat, but I'm going to say it's Sunday. We have another game coming up, of course. It's going to be Witness versus the Bloodsail Buccaneers, and then, of course, week 3, 4, 5, and 6 still to be played. That's before we head into playoffs, where we then, after playoffs, get to go all the way to Stuttgart as well for the ultimate showdown on land, where I do believe all 6 Prem teams will be in attendance as well. I think that's very beautiful. It's been a while since we've had a season where every Prem team just goes to land.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I will be in attendance as well.
Yep.
So that should be a really good one. Check out, and hope to meet a bunch of people who used to only seeing really their scream names, and seeing them in the flesh, and getting to see them eye to eye will be really cool as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to meeting you as well, Wantum.
Hell yeah.
Ben as well, I believe, will be there. So shout out to you.
Ben will also be at LAN. If you guys want to meet Ben PL in the flesh, you can come to Stuttgart, I believe, in November 21st to 23rd. Off the top of my head, I believe that those are the dates. We'll be there, everyone on the production side. The Prem teams will be there, and of course the Prem teams will be there on Sunday, and then of course going forwards on Essential TF. I'll put the dot there to annoy JMax. But he's not here, so I can't even bully him. I think that's going to be it for us for now, unless, Dave, you have any sort of final shout-outs to say?
Shout out to Davey, my biggest fan, and Manco Store as well for supporting the season.
True. With that said, good night, guys.